Have you ever tried playing Banters but this is all you get? No matches available, no matches available, no matches available, no matches available. Well, me too. I always struggle to find people playing Banters. Besides, Fortnite Save the World is a cooperative game where you and your team build defenses around a certain objective. This means that teamwork, alongside proper planning of traps, is key for beating missions. Because of this, I tried challenging myself to beat the entirety of a Banter season solo. Not only that, I will also complete all the Banter challenge quests. Honestly, I expected this to be a lot easier. I ended up failing a lot.
I was like this close, what?
But I also learned quite a lot of techniques to help me beat missions, and become a more efficient trapper overall. The first mission, arguably the most important one to do in early Ventures. I like to choose a resupply because it's literally a mission about farming. I used a fossil Southie build to get as many resources as possible, but this is not the important part. What I want is a decent weapon. Early on, you start with the worst, ugliest weapons imaginable. Just look at that ugly grey color. So I needed to get a decent weapon of high rarity. If you've never played Ventures before, you can't craft your weapons like in the base game. You either have to find them somewhere or buy them in a vending machine. Both of these options give random weapons, so you gotta hope for a lucky find. Thankfully, finding weapons isn't hard. There are a ton of things that give weapons, but the most convenient one is killing glowing animals.
No! Aww. Spear.
The next mission, Power Level 15 Fight the Storm. In here, you defend an Atlas objective for 8 minutes. I did this one because there was a quest about it. These quests are very important for progressing fast and getting more superchargers. I won't bother mentioning all of the quests, I will only mention the interesting ones. Anyway, for these early missions of Ventures, I thought that if I kept using Fossil Southie for every mission, I would never run out of resources, hence I could build a defense good enough for everything. In my mind, this meant that the bonus XP you get from increasing the difficulty was going to be free. What I didn't realize was that this plan had many flaws. First, it didn't matter how much I farmed, I would never be able to craft that many traps. The reason for this is that almost every trap requires mechanical parts. See this? Do you see anything mechanical? Yeah, that's because there is nothing. So I won't be able to craft that many damaging traps. Second, Fossil Southie is a farming hero. He doesn't have any offensive capabilities like other heroes. As soon as I needed to kill the enemies without help of traps, I struggled a lot. Third, I wasn't that experienced with traps, so I always overtrapped and wasted a ton of materials, which is something I can't afford right now. Just look at how I used to defend objectives before this. I know tire traps are extremely good, but this is just a total waste of resources. Especially now that item sharing is disabled and people can't drop me materials or traps. It's not like they ever did. Nobody ever bothered to give me anything. That's why I wanted to learn proper trapping, to be efficient. Therefore, this Fight the Storm is a total example of all the flaws I have. Just look at this, wood in the main defense, why? Because I was greedy with metal and brick. Not only that, it's not even tier 3 wood. And worst offender of all, I only added traps when I started struggling. So, no planning before starting the mission, nothing, I just improvised placing traps. At least, I didn't commit the crime of placing broadsides facing nothing. So what do you think happened in this mission? Did I barely complete it, going against all the odds surviving the 8-minute defense? Or did I fail miserably?
Oh my god. Please, I severely underestimated low level missions. Oh my god. This is so bad. No. No. Come on. Turbo building. Oh, the Smasher is finally dead. Oh, that's the stupid mini boss. I'm not even gonna bother with you. Come on. It's only 40 seconds.
Of course I failed miserably. Once Smasher started showing up, I failed. And 40 seconds before finishing the mission. This meant that all of what I did was a waste of time. Those 8 minutes, I'm never getting them back. Not counting all the time I spent before starting the mission. Thankfully, Fight the Storm missions let you try again if you fail, unlike others. So yeah, I had to do the rebuilding of shame. And actually think a bit of the traps I added. I just included more broadsides, some wall launchers, and made it the main defense of brick. Now I have to defend 8 minutes again. Luckily, these extra traps helped a lot, and I managed to finish the mission. Following that, I entered a Ride the Lightning. This is another defense mission. In here, you defend Larsus' van while it's preparing to fly. This mission is divided into 2 defenses. The first one, which is 2 minutes long, and the second one, that is 4 minutes long. So now, you would expect me to have learned from my mistakes in the last mission, right? Yeah, I completely did. I made a really good defense. I had small efficient trap tunnels. Not only that, I also used funnels. For those who don't know, funneling is when you build walls and block-offs to guide all of the husks into a single small space. So for this mission, I made an excellent build that I didn't struggle with. On to the next mission. I retrieved the data, a mission where you defend a balloon that lands and collects data. I wanted to try something different, a lazier, faster approach. I switched my build to an infinite minigun. Why? Well, in my mind, I thought that if I could kill everything myself, there would be no need for traps. Luckily, for that mission, I got to retrieve the data in a position where the husks would only approach it from a small side. This meant that it was a natural funnel, so killing them would be a lot easier than normal. So I started the defense. The infinite minigun did well, but eventually I started to get overwhelmed. I took advantage of the edge and I added wall launchers that sent husks to their death. Other than that, the mission was pretty easy to deal with. Next mission I did was to destroy the encampments. In here, you look for encampments of enemies that you need to clear out. You only need to clear 5 in order for the mission to count as completed, but then you will have to wait 20 agonizing minutes, and nobody wants that. Instead, you can clear the 4 bonus super encampments that will make you leave the mission early. Afterwards, I continued with a Trap the Storm mission. To put it in simple words, it's another defense mission, in which you defend 2 different storm traps. These are always located in the castle or that weird house thing. It's exclusive to the Hexylvania season, so you won't see this mission anywhere else. I have to give an honorary mention to this because they ended up being my favorites to do. They're super easy and give really good rewards for some reason, but I'll explain later why they are so easy. Then, I did a Rescue the Survivors mission. Similar to the Encampments mission, you only need a few amount to finish the mission, but if you want to finish quickly, you have to rescue the bonus ones. Bonus tip. For the RV survivors, you can build to them, and as long as the RV is not destroyed, the survivor will be. Same goes for car survivors. This can't be done with building, so you have to use a xenon bow and arrow ride the survivor. Next, I did a 4-player Ride the Lightning. 4-player missions give double Venture XP, but they are harder to do in general, due to the extra enemies and their increase in power level. Luckily, I got an easy spawn of the van where I can only get attacked from 2 sides. On one side, I just added tire traps to take advantage of the slope. On the other side, I added wall launchers to throw them into the void. Overall, this was a very easy mission. Sadly, this wasn't enough to reach Venture level 10. I was just 1/4 away from reaching it. So I did the 4-player mission again. Once again, I got the same easy defense. I built the same thing, so it worked out again. Now, I'm level 10, which unlocks the power level 23 missions, allowing me to gain more XP and complete more Venture quests, as these require to be done at a certain power level. So, I fight the storm. In here, I made a really big funnel where I added broadsides, floor spikes and tire traps. I was also using a minigun build, so taking care of the miniboss or smasher was easier. Overall, very easy mission. Next, another Trap the Storm mission, but now I'm using fossil salty to recover the brick I spent in the last mission. I made decent traps, but I slightly struggled with some smashers in the end. Another easy mission. Then, another Destroy the Encampments mission. I only did it because there was a quest about it. Pretty easy again. Afterwards, I did a Ride the Lightning. In here was when I realized that increasing the mission difficulty wasn't that worth it when playing solo, so I stopped doing it. In here, I made some trap tunnels and funnels while also taking advantage of the natural environment. Another easy mission. Next, I retrieved the data. I wanted to try the minigun loadout again because I don't have the increased difficulty. It did well, but when I struggled I had to add some traps, but it wasn't that stressful. Then I did a Repair the Shelter. In this mission, as the name says, you have to repair a shelter, so you look for the missing modules and install them to power on the shelter. There are 8 modules and they take 1 minute each to install. Once they are installed, you have to defend the shelter while it powers up. This defense is one of the easiest defenses to do, if not the easiest one. I don't know why, but they also have very few enemies, even in 4-player missions. So I took a lazy approach in this mission. I added some traps for one half, and the other half I will defend myself. But I misread the map. So I added traps where no one would attack, meaning that I would have to defend it all on my own, but it was manageable with the minigun loadout. After that, I did a Rescue Survivors mission, then a Trap the Storm. It was here when I started to use a base Kyle build, because his ability makes the build almost have double health. Anyway, another easy mission. Next, I did an Eliminate and Collect mission. In here, you have to eliminate husk and collect some samples. It only lasts for 10 minutes, so it's a quick mission I did, especially because I was using a Dragon Slash build. Then I did a Ride the Lightning, and I forgot to change my build. The van was on an easy spot, so I made a simple tunnel that killed the husks. Next, it was another Ride the Lightning. That was pretty much the same as the other one, but I struggled out more with this one because at the end, the game sent me the miniboss plus a lot of lobbers and flingers, and I have to say, why did Fortnite send me so many flingers when I played solo? I had never seen so many flingers until I did this challenge. Afterwards, I did a Retrieve the Data, same thing, it spawned on an easy location, so my trap tunnel was good. I only struggled when lobbers and flingers showed up. Then I did a Rebuild the Radar Grid, the worst Save the World mission. In here, you have to build the radar towers. How exciting! You get 20 minutes to build all of the towers. You would assume that after completing the bonus one, you will finish early like in Rescue the Survivors or Destroy the Encampments, but no, you are forced to stay here for 20 minutes, so for me, these missions are just an extended resupply. Next, I did a Trap the Storm. It was here when I realized how easy they are. Usually the first defense is easier and shorter, so I realized that defending the storm trap that is in front of the weird house was easier, because the second trap always spawns in the castle, and in the castle if you break everything, you will leave the storm trap in a spot where the husks could only attack from one place, making the defense a joke. I did a retrieve the data mission next. In here was when I started using base Kyle for every defense mission. In here I made some good tunnels in one side, and the other side I got lazy and tire trap spam. Everything was going good until guess what? I got flingers and mini-boss. Are you seeing a pattern? After that, I did another repair the shelter with base Kyle and minimal traps. This was a very easy mission. Then I did a category 2 fight the storm, which is like fight the storm but raised. There's 2 of them now. I did this one because a quest required me to do so. This one wasn't that hard to do, both of the atlases were near each other, so my base almost covered both of them. I added some trap tunnels, so this mission wasn't that hard. Next, it was a resupply to farm some resources because I was running low on brick and wood. Afterwards, I did a retrieve the data where I made some tunnels and everything was going great until the game decided to send me a smasher mini-boss. At the time, my weapons weren't good, so I couldn't kill it. I set my banner down to increase the health of my buildings, hoping they would last long enough until the smasher despawned. But it kept hitting everything and I couldn't damage it. Not only that, a lot of enemies started destroying my trap tunnels. They were getting overwhelming, but I only needed to last until 2 fights were retrieved. That's when I was knocked out and I have no life respawns. Thankfully, the banner I placed down works as a spawn point, so I didn't have to worry about running all the way back to the... What the hell is this? Why didn't I spawn in the banner? I failed miserably right before ending the mission, and I was really angry about it.
I f***ing hate smasher mini bosses. I can't even live. I couldn't even leave. Why, stupid mini boss, stupid.
So I did an eliminate and collect to calm down a bit. Then I did a destroy the encampments followed by another eliminate and collect. I finished off with an easy trap the storm and finally reached Venture level 20, only 30 more to go. First, I did a resupply to restock on wood and brick because I was starting to go low in it. Then, after the resupply, I completed 2 rescue the survivors mission. After that, I did a category 2. In here, it was easy because I used a certain build for the atlases, a pyramid with tire traps and electric fields, using walls to make sure the husks walk where the tires would fall, so I didn't struggle with this mission. Then, I did an eliminate and collect followed by a retrieve the data. This retrieve the data was different like the other ones, funnels, mostly broadsides and tire traps. But in here, I was lazy to trap one section and I decided to defend it myself. Next, I did a ride the lightning, which I tried switching base Kyle to the minigun loadout again. I managed to make it work, but it had some close calls, as I didn't make that many traps, and husks were destroying the few traps I had. Followed by that, I did a resupply, 3 trap the storm missions, rescue the survivors mission, 2 retrieve the data missions, 3 destroy the encampments, and 2 eliminate and collect missions. I don't know why I did so many easy missions that don't give XP. It was mostly a waste of time, like eliminate and collect, destroy the encampments, rescue survivors, they're not worth it. Believe me. After all of that, I did an evacuate the shelter mission. In here, you need to eliminate all the husks that are attacking the shelter. Then, the shelter will take some time to power back up. And here you need to build defenses and prepare for it. But the shelter takes like 10 minutes to power up. That is extremely long, which is followed by a 6-minute defense. Evacuate the shelters are my least favorites. Then I did a survive the night mission, another exclusive one to the Hexylvania. I don't know why I did this one, it's a free mission that gives less rewards than other easy missions. Anyway, in here you eliminate husks until it's morning. Next, I did a resupply and then I did a trap the storm that got me into Venture level 30. First mission I did in level 30 was a fight the storm. In here, I got lucky with a spawn where the Atlas was sort of easy to deal with and the trap turns were easy to make. I didn't bother making traps for every position since I had found a Xenon bow already. Yes, I know about the nerf. It had really good crowd control so I could clear the husks really easily, so another easy mission. Then I did another fight the storm, followed by 2 ride the lightning missions. Next, I did a build the radar towers, then a retrieve the data, fight the storm, and 2 eliminate and collect missions. Next, it was a category 3 mission. It's required by Adventure Quest. It's like category 2, but instead of defending 2 atlases, you defend 3. Yeah, very cool, Ray. I was a little nervous because defending 3 atlases at once, solo, is not easy. But my luck blessed me. I got 1 floating atlas. For those who don't know, husks won't attack a floating atlas. Build these arches under the atlas and add a roof to the atlas with an anti-air trap. You can add more if you feel unsafe about lobbers and flingers, but in general, they rarely attack the floating one. Not only I got a floating atlas, I also got an atlas that could only be attacked from one side. Once I blocked it off, that atlas became free as well, meaning that this mission became a glorified fight the storm. I only had to focus on one atlas, so I had a really easy mission. After that I did 2 rifle lightings, 2 retrieve the datas, 1 atlas, 1 build the radar grid, and eliminate and collect. Now, I had to do a 4-player mission. It could be any, as long as it was a 4-player and in a power level 108 zone. But I had not done a 4-player missions ever since I got to the harder missions. So I was scared, but I had to do it to finish the quest that required me to do so. I chose and evacuate the shelter. Even though I don't like them and I think they are hard missions, I was not going for the other option I had, which was a category 4 4-player mission. I started the mission all out. I defended the shelter, then I built with metal. I had the same easy spawn as other missions, where it could only be attacked from some limited side. On one side, I added tire traps, freeze traps to slow them down and push them back. At the end, I added tar pits to prevent a smasher from charging. On the other side of the shelter, I made a big metal block up that forced the husks to walk along the edge of the map. I added tar pits to stop the husks and the smashers, alongside wall launchers to throw them into the void. Once I finished building all of that, I had some time left, so I went to repair my weapon and activate the health and build boosts. Now, the mission had started. Everything was going really well. They were water enemies, so they didn't deal extra damage to the metal. The traps were working as intended, and tar pits stopped smashers long enough for me to slowly kill them. But what happens when you get multiple smashers that take time to kill? Yeah, they start destroying everything and killing you. Thankfully, I still had a respawn and my banner ability. Somehow, my banner barely pushed one of the smashers off the map. Once I respawned, I took advantage of my Rosie ability to kill the smashers, while they were busy destroying the buffed metal wall. I barely killed the 3 smashers, but they had destroyed a lot. Thankfully, some of the traps were still keeping the husks away, so there was no damage to the shelter. During all of this, I was panicking a lot. I was so stressed. It doesn't show because I was so focused that I didn't even speak. It was such a relief that the mission was over. After all that stress, I relaxed doing a resupply and destroy the encampments missions, which were what I needed to reach Venture level 40. First missions I did were 3 trap the storm, 2 rescue the survivors, 3 retrieve the data, 4 destroy the encampments, 3 eliminate and collect, 2 ride the lightning, resupply, fight the storm. Seriously, why did I waste so much time doing encampments, survivors and eliminate and collect? But now, I had to do the quest I was dreading from the beginning, completing a category 4 in a power level 124 or higher. The hardest mission in my opinion and at a really high power level. At least it's not a 4-player mission. I was scared to do this mission. So scared that I watched a tutorial of this channel called Stockings, where he did a category 4 solo. I learned a bit from what he did and I copied his mega base Kyle build. I had never done 4 atlases solo, it would be the first time doing this. After a lot of preparing, I started the mission. I looked for the atlases. 3 floating atlases? Wow! That is like the luckiest I could ever get. My first time ever getting 3 floating atlases in one mission. This meant that I only needed to worry about defending one singular atlas. Although this one spawned in an awkward position that made adding traps not that easy, but I was so excited that I got this. I immediately started to work on the defense. Because of this, I had a really easy defense. I slightly struggled at the end, but nothing bad happened. But I would be lying if I wasn't slightly disappointed that I didn't get to do this, as like the ultimate test of soloing missions. But anyways, I feel like I did learn a lot about funneling and trapping doing this. By this time, I feel confident doing normal missions solo. Not so much with the 4-player missions, but at least it's an improvement. After the category 4, I did a resupply, to eliminate and collect, atlas, and then I tried to do a retrieve the data. Because I was so close to finishing Ventures, I wanted to do it as fast as possible, but that made my tunnels not so good. They were good for most of the defense, but they were absolutely destroyed when the game spammed me with exploders, flingers, lobbers, and smashers. Actually the worst combination available, and I didn't even mention the mini boss. In the end, I couldn't do it and I failed again.
$10 billion exploders. I can't even, like, what's the point of trapping if the game's just going to send 10 billion exploders to just blow the fuck everything up? Then they just nerf this kind of xenon, and they just nerf the only good thing in this game.
Then I did the resupply of shame. After that, I did a destroy the encampment and tried to do the retrieve the data again. This time I tried to make better tunnels and plan more ahead. I added sound walls and anti-air traps to prevent exploders. I also included tar pits to prevent smashers from destroying everything. This time I did the retrieve the data with no issues. Then I did the last ride the light. It spawned on a decent location. I added broadsides on one side, tires on the slope, and on the other side I made a tunnel with broadsides and wall launchers. This was a very easy mission that finally let me finish Ventures. If you liked the video, consider subscribing, and if this video gets to 100 likes, I'll challenge myself to beat the Mythic Storm King solo.